Joining us, it's the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Jones Hussein. All right then, quite a lot to discuss this evening. And on the Hangout, Fulani militia launches fresh reprisal attack, kills dozens in Adamawa. Fresh fuel crisis hits Lagos and Abuja. And later on, we'll talk about the court on freezing Patience Jonathan's accounts. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Of course, there's a Chris Kainde Wandu here, not forgetting Stella Sawyer, the only lady here. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Good
to be here.
And so let's go.
Good to be here.
It is dispiriting to learn that Adamawa State would decidedly be on the boil at a time much of Christendom is dreaming of Christmas. Fresh violence reportedly broke out between farmers and herdsmen in the Bachama-dominated part of Numan in Adamawa State. We hear the cause of the palaver is a misunderstanding, in quotes, between farmers and herdsmen. Soldiers have been reportedly deployed to the area, so scores are known to have been brutally killed. Gentlemen, appears this is an unending cycle. Jide, let's have you open. It's an unending cycle.
It is.
And they say misunderstanding. So you're wondering what the misunderstanding is all about?
The misunderstanding is long-standing. The
a long-standing misunderstanding.
Yes, it's long-standing.
I like the imagery.
The Fulani wants to graze his cattle in places where people have farmlands. Definitely, when you send your cattle to trample on people's farms and even hit their crops, their blood will boil because it's their hard work. It's their hard work that you are feeding to your animals for free. So there's no way that people's blood will not boil.
It makes you want to think it's deliberate.
In some cases, you can say it's deliberate. What we've seen in Benue shows that sometimes these herdsmen deliberately unleash their cows on people's farms. And the same thing has happened in Oyo State, in the Okeogun area of Oyo State, where cattle invaded people's farms and ate up their crops. It's terrible. And that's why some governments in Nigeria that have come up with this idea of banning open grazing, I am in support of them because I know that in some parts of Africa, open grazing had been banned. Ranching is working. Ranching is working in Tanzania, in Kenya, and these are countries that export beef to different parts of the world. It's working in Swaziland. So why can't we try it here? Why can't we try it here? Because when if we succeed with it, it will banish this needless bloodletting between farmers and herdsmen.
Yeah. As you talked, Sawyer, he talked about Ekiti, and Ekiti has a clear-cut
bill.
Yeah.
To say, I mean, if you do this, you will be sanctioned, and
it's working there.
It's working because for months now we've never had that crisis in Ekiti, and I think your state government also, plan to have such a bill passed.
Benue
had passed theirs.
But
my worry is, I mean, why now? And for years, even while we're growing up, we used to see herdsmen, take their cattle around, and we've never had cases of people, they running into farms and, communities complaining. So why this sudden anger, or let me say, the need to want to hurt
to
farmers
or let blood.
No, not even letting blood, because you're hurting. A farmer must have, you know what it is to plant your crop, to wait for harvest, and that is maybe your only means of livelihood. And you wake up in the morning and you see that everything you've worked for months is gone within, a day or two.
Yeah.
And I begin to wonder why this, act of wickedness. They've been taking their cattle round for years, and we've not had these cases. Is it the fact that I tried as much as possible not to think that it is the fact that who can hold us to ransom when governments were in charge, and people are saying it's even worse now because government appears not to be very decisive.
Yeah.
You know, really coming out to
another word that comes to mind
yes.
is ambivalence.
Yes,
yeah.
to call these people to order or to make sure that this, you know, crisis, you know, get to an end. It's as if they're just doing it knowing that nothing will come out of it. Let's look at the Benue situation.
Okay.
The federal government had, you know, did not even complain or did not call the herdsmen to order until maybe a week or two after, you know, so much uproar, so much comment, so much anger had been vented. So you begin to ask, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
And the killing, sorry, I mean, I begin to wonder, have we lost
our
humanity?
I hope you are not begging the question.
You know, because I imagine somebody waking up, because this is not just an, I mean, impromptu thing. They must have planned it.
Or premeditated.
It's, you know, and you wait at night, then in the morning, you go raise a whole community, knowing that there will be children, there will be women, and there will be even old people. Yeah. Yeah. I begin to wonder, where have we've lost it?
Chris, you know, we said not too long ago on this table, that these are troublous times for the country.
It is.
So from Sokoto to Calabar, from Lagos to Nguru.
Yeah, I'll take it from another angle. First and foremost, she asks, why now? And what I can do to this at times could be the problem of climate change, right? A lot of things are happening, and most of the agrarian areas where normally they go around to do their take their cows to feed and the rest of them, everything is just turned into a desert.
Chris, sorry, I know you are building up, but then factor this in. They are by nature itinerant.
Yes, of course, they are. And that's what I'm going to. Then that is one. Secondly, I also look at it from another angle, and that is a failure is an indictment on the part of our security agents. Okay? And before we start talking about the Fulani herdsmen, it has been happening for long. And I've been on several occasions on this program, we've talked about it. Our security agents don't seem to be proactive. That is what is happening now. They are not proactive. They cannot detect or be able to gather enough intelligence. In those days, before anything happens in any community, somebody from the community would have sneaked out and said, this is what these people are applying, this is what to be on your guard and the rest of them. Even, you can even infiltrate their membership. Yeah. Somebody somewhere there, whatever the level of promise is, okay, for every information I get, I'll give you a cow, I'll give you 2 cows and rest of it. Yes, that is part of information gathering. So somebody from there who wants something in return, just like the whistleblower policy of the federal government, that can be extended to that. Somebody somewhere there will come out and tell the secretary, this is what is happening. And the situation where this guy comes and stay for hours, kill people, burn down the whole village, and after about 2, 4, 5 hours, the security agents will now come in and they'll say, oh, we are bringing them. I was listening, I was so disappointed when I watch, whenever I watch my friend, the PPRO of the police, whenever he comes around to be defending, most of the time he's always...
FPRO.
The FPRO. Yes, you know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Whenever he comes, I see him on television trying to defend and the activities of the police, especially when it comes to this killing, I feel really annoyed because that is not... Our intelligence mechanism must be proactive now. Both the military, we know the Boko Haram is a bit down now, so we cannot say the army as engaged as they used to be. The DSS, the police, and other security agents should take this as a matter of priorities. People are being killed. Look at what happened in Adamawa. Look at what happened again. Kids of about a year, 2, murdered, slaughtered like animals and the rest of them. And the next thing we see somebody jumping. I saw the vice president,
Professor
Oshibajo, went there yesterday or thereabout. He has been doing that in the past 6-7 months. And how long will we continue to do that? I think something has to be done urgently to curb that.
Or otherwise, we must stem a possible implosion.
Yes. This, the latest attack was prompted by the desire of the Fulani to retaliate the attack on their people in a village called Sarafon, in the Numan area.
Yeah.
We saw this coming. We warned that attack will be avenged because we know the Fulani very well.
The nature.
They do not believe in turning the other cheek. You know, they don't believe in turning the other cheek. If you kill a Fulani man, they will come back to kill dozens. They always say that, they say it with relish, that if you take a Fulani life, even if it takes many years. I think even the governor of Kaduna State, before he became governor, was boasting about it, that it is a debt. If you take a Fulani life, it is a debt that you will pay, however long it takes. Why we had to say that as a public officer is the only one who can explain, because it's just not right. But then the point that one is trying to make is that we knew that this will happen, because after that attack in which up to 60 people were killed, I knew they would want to avenge, and they were quite prepared. You see, the way the Fulani do it.
They even vowed. They voiced it.
Yes.
Oh, we will come at you.
They regrouped at night.
I have never called these people, I've never called them Fulani headsmen. I have popularized the idea of calling them Fulani militia.
Militia, okay.
Because why do I call them militia? When this kind of thing happens, they reach out to as far as Cameroon and even Mauritania.
And regroup.
Once, what they do is they will send kola nut to all of those areas. Once they send kola nuts to those places, it's a clear message that help is needed. So they will now come down. Those fighters will come down. They will come down to come and avenge the killing. So, and in this case, when the last terrorist, when that attack happened, the IG said he was deploying 320 mobile policemen.
That's what I'm saying.
It actually deployed, but they were overwhelmed because these guys were well armed. Some of them had RPGs. They had RPGs, they had AK-47. These guys, they have good weapons. So look, I was in Benue State when they chased away the former governor, Suswam. He had these security men. He couldn't stand the firepower of the Fulani militia. He had to run. The governor ran. So it's not with the Fulani headsmen that we know. We are not carrying AK-47. These ones have automatic weapons.
They are rod.
So if you want to fight them, you have to be ready. So they killed 7 policemen. Initially, the report was 4. They killed 7 policemen until the soldiers now got a distress call and came in to settle the thing. But by the time they got there, they had already destroyed 7 communities and killed more than 60 people.
A lot of people.
Now we see we are really going through these troublous times, times that try men's souls. We'll take this break and return. Please stay with us. All right, then, welcome back. Not a particularly new story. Herdsmen on the rampage in Adamawa State. Numan seems to be the hotbed. Stella, again, more questions than answers at a time like this.
Yeah,
as I always say, this is supposed to be peace time.
People are already preparing for the festive period. People are thinking of, oh, we're going to have, you know, something to look forward to. Fine, there's no money in the pocket, but we have our farm produce to fall back on, to enjoy ourselves. Now, they've not only lost all what they've labored for, they're also losing lives. I think it's something government, it's not just about condemning. I'm tired of hearing that word. The government had come out to condemn this act of, you know, killings. No, we should be decisive. What we've been having government say investigations to be carried out. I've never had that we've concluded an investigation, and this is the outcome, this is the report, and these are the arrested people, and this is the punishment meted to them. We need to really, because people are angry, and before you know it, we pray that we don't have war on our hands, because it will generate into ethnic war, as I'm looking at it.
Okay. So, solution, you know, so we don't dwell too much on the problem, because there always is an answer to a particular
solution. But before solution, we also realize that I personally feel that there are some powerful individuals behind some of these guys. I just want to believe that. And also, you have to realize that most of the so-called Fulani herdsmen that you see with the cows are not the owners of those cows. They are not the owners. The owners, most of the owners are in Abuja, they're in other main cities, and what they do is buy up these things and give it to these young men and arm them and just let go. So the solution has to start from those that send these guys out. They need to talk to them. They need to enlighten them. They need to tell them that there is the need for them to stay away from people's farms. And if they must graze, then there should be grazing ranches. I just came back from the US. I was there for weeks. I never for one day. If you see ranches, and see the way these people go about it.
Between Washington and Maryland, Pittsburgh, you will love being a farmer.
Because based on what was happening, I personally went to, they took me to some of this one. Areas of lands of kilometers, long range of kilometers, you see all these things first now.
Love this.
Chris, when the cow does not have to travel from Mambila down to Lagos. Look at the bulls. Look at the American bulls.
Exactly.
See how big they are.
Very fast. So
it's only in Mambila and Obudu that you can see cows as big as those ones in there. Because these ones will have been famished.
So the solution, as we are saying, the solution still lies with us. First and foremost, I have to appreciate all the state governments that have so far enacted those laws. We're also having that issue. It was, I think, in Edo State also, there was a time they were making concession to Enugu State, Ekiti, and the rest of them. But I think, but now the concentration is more, not in the south again, but in the north. Benue, Adamawa, Nasarawa, Plateau, and some of those. So I think the governors, especially the northern governors, should be able to come together and put heads together and put a stop to this, because the way it is going, there will come a time where people have to retaliate. If you continue killing people and killing people, people will be armed.
Nobody has a monopoly.
Nobody has a monopoly to violence.
At this point, Meyeti Allah has a part to play, won't you say?
Yes, the Meyeti Allah guys are opposed to
what the people are doing?
Ranching.
Yeah.
They prefer that things remain the same.
Oh, okay.
But you see, a lot of the guys who are in the cabinet of the Meyeti Allah are graduates who would not on their own agree to be going into the bush with cattle. At least some of them that we know they are graduates, they speak excellent English. They will not agree to live that nomadic life. So why don't you just, if people, zero grazing is what is the norm in the world now.
Okay.
Just give them very fertile.
Let's even try it.
Give them
let's even put it in trial. I mean, and see if it will work or not.
And they get fat.
That's it.
All right then. Time is the master on this program. So, but then this is the time we ask all the big people in this country to bring something momentous to the table. Save the country. We can't afford an implosion at this point. We'll move to our next subject this evening, but then let's share this picture with you.
It is the Yuletide season once again, and like it has been in past years, queues have suddenly reappeared in some states, including the Federal Capital Territory. These queues stretch on for some kilometers, causing a lot of hold-up within the city center. Hajia Yisa has been on the queue for a few hours, and she expresses her disappointment over the situation.
It's very sad. You know, one has to, we thought this is a forgotten thing, but it's now back again. And every day we are preaching change. When do we change in this country?
She adds that staying on the queue is greatly affecting her job.
I have work in the office now. I went to the office, signed in, did 1 or 2. I heard that there's a queue here and I rushed out when I should be doing what I'm paid to do. You see, so it's going to affect everything, or it's already affecting it. Very soon now you hear those who who commute have to pay, maybe they pay 50, now they'll say it's 100. Why are we wicked? I just feel that we are wicked to ourselves.
While some believe it is just a case of panic buying, other motorists are upset that they have to sit through many hours just to get the product and call on government to address it.
I work as a public servant. For the past 3 hours, I'm on queue. We are fighting. Look at the way they damaged my car.
Been on the queue now for 2 hours now. For 2 hours. So what is happening? This is a fuel increment. They want to increase fuel. They say 140, we are buying it 140. So I'm selling 200. We are not complaining. So what is happening again? We want to know. Let the government come outside and tell us what is happening.
These people that are selling one pump, they have all the pump to sell. Other filling stations that closed it down, sold it yesterday and the day before yesterday, they have the fuel because they are anticipating the fuel increment so that they can make more money from the situation. That is why we are here suffering.
Well, I think it's all about fuel panicking because we're hearing that tanker drivers want to go on strike. We don't actually know exactly what is the cause. Government are actually spoken that there shouldn't be any panic buying because they have enough in their reserve.
At this location, touts can be seen making brisk business trading fuel on black market for a higher price. But they do not smile for long as the police swoop on them, interrupting their business and causing them to scamper in different directions. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has yet to speak on the matter, and it remains unclear why the queues are back. Could it just be a case of panic buying by Nigerians or hoarding by the suppliers? No matter what the case may be, it is obvious that Nigerians want the situation resolved in the quickest possible time. Kemi Balogun, TVC News, Abuja.
All right then, according to the great physicist Albert Einstein, the only source of knowledge is experience. But our experience in this part of the world is that at festive periods, oil marketers get queer with the distribution of refined petroleum products. They know that a long-suffering citizenry would indulge in the traditional panic buying of PMS that provokes long queues at filling stations and across the land. Lagos and Abuja are worst hit. What's puzzling, therefore, is the experience the NNPC would have gained to stem the tide. We'll be back shortly. Okay then, welcome back. Let's go straight to business. Jide, now, do we know the country's exact needs at any particular time? Because if the argument is supply is not enough, who is telling us what?
From the investigation that I've made, it appears that at this time, the NNPC does not have enough. They tell us they have enough, but I spoke with 2 independent marketers, and what they told me was that because NNPC does not have enough, some of them have resorted to going to other tank farms. And when they get to those tank farms, they are told that, look, they can no longer lift at the price that they used to lift because the landing cost has risen. So some of them in anger refused to lift, just decided to go home. So naturally that will cause some level of scarcity. Then the road to the tank farms in Apapa, you know, they are repairing the road. I remember that Korodo warned that by the time, that's Korodo is the leader of Nopeng, that by the time they begin to repair that road, it will lead to fuel scarcity. Unless government comes up with an alternative route, you know, but we are talking about thousands of...
Didn't we hear of the Fashola government giving them a portion of land?
No, it's not. It's not caution. It's people.
So as to decongest.
You know, they would need
No,
to queue.
it's not even decongesting now.
Okay.
They have to queue to
queue to
lift
lift.
the product.
Go and lift.
So
Now
you go
that
when
road
you're-
that
it's your
leads to
time.
where they will pick
have to
the
lift.
product
Yeah.
is the road is being repaired,
Rehabilitated,
which means
it's-
that they cannot. A lot of them can access the tank farms. So
And
that is
most
the
of
problem.
them, they won't get their
problem.
trailers, you
The
know.
problem. There are some who had been there for 3 weeks. They can't load
They can't
products. So there's no way this won't bring scarcity. If we are not careful, it will get worse. Because by the time they step up work, they step up activities on that road,
Yeah, it will
then
affect.
it will really affect the tankers that need to lift a product and all that. So government has to do something about the fact that everyone comes from every part of Nigeria, everyone
Want to lift
comes to
fuel,
Lagos
right,
to lift
to the
fuel.
fuel. I
In the
mean-
past, we had depots.
Depots. I mean,
And through pipelines, petroleum
Serving-
products were, but
Yeah.
because of constant breaching of those pipelines by
the
vandals
vandals,
and
the
people and
pipeline
petrol thieves, you know,
yeah.
then
I
they
mean, of
decided
course,
against this expensive means of moving the product to different parts of the country. Ilorin, different. We had depots everywhere. It was not like this in the past. But now everybody is going to Apapa to lift.
Yeah,
fuel. Some of them, it could take some of them 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
to get back to the north.
You need to go towards Apapa to see what these people go through.
Yeah.
For days, I
They will
mean,
sleep
they
in
will
their
sleep in their
trucks.
truck. I mean, I think
They defecate right there in the
there in
open.
the open. Well, of course, I needed to go to Tinkana Land, the ports, and they told me there's no way you can even get there. The custom officer says they leave their cars at home and they go on Okada. So every day when they get to the office, they say special prayer because they know that people die on that road every day. Trailers, you'll be riding on Okada and maybe the trailer will run into the tires of all these tankers, and people will fall. And my worry is, for over 2 years now, I've not had the federal government come out concretely to say, this is what we are doing
to stem.
No, it's even
About
our
road.
refineries. No, forget the road.
Oh.
I'm even talking about, okay, fine, the roads are bad, tankers, but must we continue to import?
Stella, you must talk about the one that's feasibly possible to do now.
Yes.
Availability of
Yeah,
products.
That's all.
Okay, well,
That's all.
the marketers, they've come out to say they don't have enough. Why they don't have enough, so you are displayed.
You don't read the so-called Nigerian thing into it.
You can't rule that out.
Yes.
Marketers will definitely look for other ways. You've heard the stories then that most times when they get this product, they take it to countries, where they can make more money.
Diversion.
They divert it to Chad and
yeah,
Cameroon,
yeah.
where they know that they can make more money. I know that is there. In Nigeria, I know we need between 35 to 50 liters, 50 million liters every day. And I know that NNPC cannot provide half of that.
Yes.
They
So
don't even have
they don't have the
They don't have the
storage,
storage
facilities.
capacity.
Yes, I was confused. I was surprised.
That's why
when
they have to use
I was
people
surprised
like,
when
Uber that
I
put
was
us in
surprised
trouble.
when
huh?
the GMD of NFC came out yesterday and
No,
when
no,
he was moving
no,
around.
public relations. The
No,
PRD.
no,
No,
the
GMD itself.
Yes,
Managing
yeah.
director.
Yeah.
Okay.
The GMD. I'm not looking
Kanti
for
Baro.
Ugomado.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
the
okay.
GMD
Yeah.
of NNPC came out yesterday or so and will say that we have
enough
enough
for last weeks.
to last weeks. We have millions and millions and resting. And that has always been the story. The NNPC as it stands, we are looking at immediate solution, but also look at the long-term solutions. We have been talking about the PIB for so many years. Successive members of the National Assembly or National have been throwing up this bill and turning it around and around until we're able to effectively handle that bill and make sure that it is passed. We'll continue rolling on this problem.
Chris,
That is what
you seem to think that the PIB is the cure.
No,
of-
I'm not saying it's the cure.
It's
not
It's
the
not the
silver-
cure.
it's not a
necessarily
silver
the cure.
bullet.
But it's not a silver
That will
bullet.
cure the-
But I'm
But
telling you,
there are
it's not a
things
silver
there
bullet. I'm
that
telling you
if
that.
we-
Let me tell you. Have you also look at this also. The refineries. How many of our refineries are working?
No.
So we are waiting on Dangote to finish. That is our strategy.
That is our strategy. Everybody
forget our refineries.
That's what I'm going to.
In 2 years, Dangote's refineries should be ready.
Working. Now,
must we wait then?
Must we wait? That is another.
Must we wait then?
The third one. We are talking about.
No, but for 2 years, sorry.
Let him land.
You know, that is the second one. The third one, even if the product is made available, he made a mention of something. When last were you on Ikorodu Road? Ikorodu Road?
Yes.
Yes. You ask yourself.
They've slipped onto that road.
Now you know that a bigger problem is coming because look at the bridges along Ikorodu Road.
Yeah.
All the tankers are parked right from Onekpan through Fadeyi.
Okay, Chris, let me quickly take Abubakar. Okay. Abubakar, I greet you. Abubakar, welcome. And he's reaching us from Kano State.
Reaching us these days.
Yeah, how are you doing, gentlemen and lady?
It's nice hearing your voice.
How are you doing, gentlemen and lady?
Thank you very much. It's nice having you.
You are really getting through to us these days.
Let me say, Nigeria, you see, it's a wonderful country. Once this administration came, it increases the naira on the fuel. That means to 145. Nigerians didn't complain. They said they are doing this to make fuel available. And we believe that the change we have voted for would benefit us. So we didn't make noise. And this inflation or this increase in the fuel price caused inflation in this country. And prices has been increased in almost every product we go to the market and buy. And we have been going through this years back. And the government is doing nothing about it. Is this the change we have voted for? For goodness sake, help the masses of this country.
All right.
Help them to survive.
All right. Yeah, you know, some folks believe it's payback time by marketers. It's time to make some...
You know better.
Oh,
we have to talk on
we
it.
have to be...
To take off it. The question I've always asked, why is it always at this time of the year?
Yeah.
Why do we always have this level of scarcity or whatever? Every time is Christmas.
These are the times when people will need to
Did we face this scarcity last year?
They need money and they'll be eager.
We were spared
last year.
There is a danger in thinking that, some people have come, they've created this problem. Because the danger is it will make the real problem
not to
elude
face
us.
Okay.
It will make us to not address the real problem.
Now, give us
the real problem. And I'm saying that the marketers, there is a filling station down the road.
Okay.
You know that filling station.
Yeah.
This one here.
Now, the man who runs the filling station told me that his tanker that had gone to Apapa just returned after 4 days.
Okay.
So he is lucky after 4 days.
I'll stay 2 weeks.
And he told me that this is the problem that they are facing, that people are compelled to not buy from NNPC, but to go and buy from other.
But without meaning to puncture what you are saying, just a minute. How come between January and November there was not this palaver until now?
Until December.
No, but you also need to look at things this way. The cost of buying refined petrol in the international market in January is not the same thing as now, because it is dependent on
the rates,
and the price in the global market.
Okay.
So what it means is that every time, if the price goes up in the international market, it affects your landing costs.
It means that price must go up
every December.
In
December of every year.
No.
December. It depends on the...
What I'm saying is, see, today, what is we all know that, because of the cuts, the OPEX cuts and all that, that the price of petrol, crude oil, has gone up. Now, when the price goes up, the price of refined petrol will go up even higher than it is. So the bulk of what we use is imported. So it means that the landing cost today cannot be what it was in around January last year when petrol, when crude oil price was very low. Was around 30 or something.
It's the December issue that.
So it is not December. It is not December. If you talk to the marketers, you see clearly. We've already talked about difficult accessibility to the loading bay being difficult. There's no way to affect supply.
And Jide, at a time like this, you cannot but look, see the fingers of fifth columnist.
Fifth columnist?
No, hold on. I hope I'll make myself clear.
We're talking about people sabotage the...
what we are discussing is akin to electricity supply in the country.
Yeah.
Because some people have brought in generators. No, hold on.
Even that one, I disagree with that.
Okay.
That's why I asked CKN the question that in December last year, did we face scarcity? We didn't.
No, we didn't.
We didn't.
So what happened?
We didn't. And
because
I talk about
3 years before that.
No, we
were having issues too.
No.
That was why we accepted the 145
some of the
naira,
conditions have changed.
knowing that we would not go.
That's why we talked about the road.
Yeah.
You need to on your own try to go to that place. Talk to the people. Someone who has been on the queue for 2 weeks, he can't load product. So availability.
And is this why the refineries at home must not work?
Oh, the issue of refineries, we can dedicate a whole program.
That is why I asked.
Let's broach it.
That is why
is it impossible to make refineries here work?
Why can't it work?
If you attempt to have a go at it, then you will understand what I mean by fifth column.
Now, even if the refineries work at full
capacity,
it will not be enough
to
provide.
They are not working.
Because what is the capacity of those 3 refineries? What is the capacity?
Three for now.
Remember, those refineries were built in the 60s. What is the population of Nigerians in the 60s and now?
So why haven't we built another?
It is the government that will answer that, not government.
Gentlemen, we talk about
that's why we're even talking about modular refineries. I was coming to that.
Very mobile.
We don't need to have
rocket science.
We don't need to have in the zones and
let's wait for Dangote refinery. Dangote refinery will give you 650 million barrels a day.
Somebody raised
that's more than enough.
And if that anything
for you.
Happens, for whatever given reason, anything happens to Dangote's
because you can't even build any refinery now.
But modular refineries can be built, Jide.
No,
modular refineries. No,
you're even going too far.
Wait. Sorry.
Somebody said
modular refineries. Listen.
Okay.
The way we are going about it.
Okay.
Modular refineries can be built in different parts of this country. It doesn't have to be the full capacity. We can have one.
The people in government have made up their minds. They are high. Did you listen to our oil minister?
Yes, I
saying that by 2019 that we will not have. That we will stop importing petroleum products because he's already thinking that by that time that one will be ready.
Somebody said something some time ago that why would we destroy, the Niger Delta pipeline vandalism? Why would this? They refine.
Now, that's not refined.
Can't we do something? But don't they sell those products? They do sell those products. We can use their.
They use it for boats.
I know, but we can also.
No car can drive in that. If you put that.
You folks are behaving like those who have just been fueled. Let's go on this break. We'll be back, please. All right, then, fuel scarcity is here, and there are folks who would swear that it's a December thing, but my colleagues here are saying no. They know something else. Stella.
Yeah, well, December, because last year we didn't go through it. We were happy. And that was why when they increased the price, people were like, if this would take the pain or the worry about going to scout for fuel, we're ready to pay. And why last year when there was no crisis, people were like, well, we've been justified, at least our money is working for us.
Yeah.
But this time around, the panic buying, yesterday was, today it's better.
It is typically Nigerian.
Yesterday was worse. I even had to join in this panic buying because I was like, where are we? This thing just came out of the blues. We were not prepared. Monday, you went to work, then Tuesday you're returning and you started saying, okay, the idea is, okay, people are just coming back from work and they just wanted to refuel. Then on Monday, driving back to work, you just realize that there's scarcity, and you can see queue, and you can't join this queue. So it's either you go buy black market, or you call your boss in the office to say, I'm going to stay out for like 2-3 hours so that I can. And you know, if you take 2-3 hours out of, you know, your work time, the day is gone.
Chris, there are people in this Lagos right now who will tell you at petrol stations across Lagos, not the country, they have fuel, but they won't sell because they expect the price to go up somewhere, and so they can. You
know what they do? They shut down most of the.
If at a place you have 5 pumps,
5 pumps, they
just
shut
one
down,
pump.
they just put one.
It's
yes, because they create artificial scarcity, because through that they intend to make extra money. The guys, the attendants attend to.
It's their time.
Then the guys that bring the the jerry cans, you will see they sell 5 jerry cans, sell 1 car. For each of those jerry cans sold, somebody collects something and put it in his pocket. That is the corruption we are talking about. So basically, in as much as we are saying,
it pays a particular group of Nigerians.
A group of Nigerians are benefiting for the hardship we are going through. And what we need to know, and I asked Jide severally, which are right from, I would say, in the past, probably in the past 10 years, probably for 2 years or thereabout, we've not had these scarcities. In the past 10 years, it's only in Lagos, probably Abuja, I don't know which other states, that you can get fuel dead at the right price. If it's 141 in Lagos, if you go to Imo State, where I come from, you won't get it for 141. Or you move to Calabar, the same thing. So you now see that it has been endemic. The problem we are having as we speak present is
let's speak with Lawrence. Lawrence here in Lagos. Lawrence?
Johnson, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Yeah, I am okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyone who is saying is panic buy, I think we are deceiving ourselves.
You don't understand.
I was at the police station a few minutes ago, and look, an NNPC mega station along the Ogunisi Road. No one is selling. You start wondering if NNPC is not selling, what happened to others?
Thank you.
The area boys are surface. Who now block the access to the police station? So what is happening? We are asking the government to intervene. This is our time.
Yeah,
are we going back to the old days?
No, we are not.
And others are coming, you fight queues at the police station. God bless this country.
Okay, NNPC fuel station not selling. Has anybody been there, Jide, to authenticate that there's scarcity even at that station?
It depends on what. I know that people who watch TVC news consistently will recall that sometime last week there was a warning that Ipman already warned that they were not getting enough supplies.
Okay.
Bear that in mind. They had warned that they were not getting enough supplies. That should have told us that this kind of thing could happen. Look, you can only talk of panic buying when there is product availability is an issue. If everybody has the product, you must sell. Because fuel, let me tell you, hold on, fuel evaporates when you keep it in a place for too long. You know that was the excuse that this man gave us.
And with this weather,
and this is a very hot weather. Nobody will have it and just simply lock it up. Okay. But when there is a lack of availability...
With due deference to you, you know, it's debatable, but let me take Ali.
No, because you chose not to believe. That is the thing.
No, but I have a right not to believe.
Yeah, you can choose not to believe.
But Ali is here. Ali is here. Ali, good evening. Brother Ali.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Oh, Ni, sorry. Ni, welcome.
Aliu.
Aliu, okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Well done, sir. What I just want to contribute here is, the woman that was interviewed in Abuja, she said the truth. Because I can tell you that out of every 10 filling stations, 8 has oil inside but are not selling. And the problem here is, where are the DPR? What are they doing with the taxpayers' money? You see, the issue of sabotage, we cannot deny it. We cannot isolate it. The issue of sabotage is there. And the government agencies that are supposed to monitor and regulate is buying and selling, they are sleeping, or they are collaborators. Because definitely, I have an insider, and out of every 10 filling stations in Lagos or in Abuja, 8 are having foil in their dump. Thank you very much, sir.
Many thanks. I hope Jide won't say I paid the guy.
No, how many places are sleeping to? We have correspondents who go out every day. Even our own energy correspondent, Tolulokwe Kunjobi, he went around. He has friends amongst the people in this business. He's very conversant with the business. He's covered the bid for over 5 years. And that is the point that this guy had been saying. Before now, they warned us that they were not getting product as much as they want. And they were threatening strike. Remember, it was reported by us that they were threatening strike over product availability.
No, what
now,
saying is
the people,
some
we have, we know that.
have.
And I'm saying that when everybody has, you can't afford to hoard yours. It is when there is lack of sufficient fuel that some people now choose to hoard.
Is that why at a place
we are not saying that nobody hoards. You understand?
Where you have 5 pumps,
only 2 will be
only
used.
2 or 1
in
extreme cases.
And to create long queue.
I'm telling you, when they flood the market with fuel, you will see that everybody will.
Hold it. I hear we must close. So, Chris, how do you close?
Well, on this, I think the GMD of NNPC should come out and tell Nigerians the truth. That's what we need to know. They don't need to tell us that we have enough, and within the NNPC mega stations, they're also not selling. Then something must be wrong, and that should be something should be done about it.
My take is the marketers should remember that it's a Yuletide, and people are thinking of Christmas. People want to enjoy themselves, and people are even angry that they are still struggling to make ends meet. They shouldn't make life difficult for Nigerians.
Well, I want the government to do everything possible to make the product available. I'm unconvinced that the product is sufficiently available. So make the product available so that Nigerians do not suffer. That is what I want to say.
All right, with that at the back of our minds, let's call it a day here. But then join us tomorrow for another interesting edition of this program. Watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalists Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Jones Hussein, but let me thank Stella Soya for coming.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Chris Wandu.
Thank you very much for having me.
And Babajide Otitojo. I hope you have more fuel.
Bye-bye now. I found a way to buy it.